After 4 years, World War I finally drew to a close in 1918, ending one of the worst military conflicts in history. The war did not formally end until numerous treaties were signed between the nations involved. Most notable of these was the Treaty of Versailles, which Germany signed on June 28, 1919. This treaty demanded that Germany accept sole responsibility for causing the war, as well as pay billions of dollars in reparations. Ironically, the severe and controversial Treaty of Versailles is considered by many as a direct cause of the Second World War.
Tensions over Japan's military normalization have risen recently for a number of reasons. Japan is making more moves to guard against China's rise, as are other nations, and China is suspicious of containment. North Korea has also spurred Japan to change.
NATO leaders agreed on Sunday to implement a new European missile defense shield. The decision was openly defiant toward Russia, which says that the system could be used to stop its own nuclear missiles and therefore would undermine its nuclear deterrent.
Joint exercises by Chinese and Russian naval troops entered the fifth day on Thursday, with joint escorting, anti-hijacking and live fire drills in the Yellow Sea, just west of the Korean peninsula.
I said, we're going to war with Iraq. Why? He said, I don't know. He said, I guess they don't know what else to do.
All right, well, unemployment dropping, the economy growing, and home prices rising. So why is food stamp use surging?
And by that time, we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, are we still going to war with Iraq? And he said, oh, it's worse than that. He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, this is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran.
Well, I mean, a couple of things, but one of them, I think the administration is asking the wrong question. The administration has asked so far, how do we get more people on SNAP benefits?
And there's no question that the presence of petroleum throughout the region has sparked great power involvement. Whether that was the specific motivation for the coup or not, I can't tell you, but there's always been this attitude that somehow we could intervene and use force in the region.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3.
Yep. Tombstone retrieved the intel. And in the event of a Chinese military coup, the Russians would be loyal to Admiral Chang.
That confirms the report from our asset in China.
So Staff Sergeant Dunn was killed for something we already knew?
There's rioting in the streets of Shanghai, Captain, and the Russians are getting involved. We needed to know for sure. That we had to lock down Suez is delicate enough. One wrong move, we're talking war. You have your orders, Captain.
Aye, aye. Steaming towards the east coast of China.
How do we get to the airbase?
I don't know. Miracle? Let me show you what you're dealing with. Russians are everywhere. We lost the airbase, got pushed back to Old Town. Hold on, boys!
A massive buildup is in the works. Thousands of U.S. troops now gearing up to go to Israel. The military is calling it an exercise, not a deployment, but this is one serious exercise. This, as Israel says, they're ready to go to war with Iran.
Well, reports are circulating that the U.S. is amassing a greater military presence in the Middle East. The alleged buildup is also rumored to involve the Israeli use of Saudi Arabian airspace. It's thought by some to be in preparation for an attack on Iran.
Could I remind you this afternoon that you and I are living in the most incredible generation in all of human history, in which more things are happening right before our very eyes to set the stage for the fulfillment of Bible prophecy than any generation that has ever lived. Undoubtedly, we are running out of time. Secondly, we're racing toward the end. What's happening today is as though God has suddenly propelled everything at an incredible rate toward the fulfillment of all of the end times prophecies, and the stage is certainly set for the rapture of the church. When we look at biblical prophecies about the end times, it's obvious that at some point Israel had to go back to the promised land, because all of the prophecies of Israel in the Old Testament that deal with the end times picture Israel in her own land at the time of the end. It doesn't matter that she was expelled from that land for nearly 1900 years. There had to come a time that Israel would go home to the promised land. And in 1948, 60 years ago, the stage was set significantly by probably the most important sign of the end times, the return of Israel to the promised land. Now, I'm very familiar with all the issues about the generation that will not pass till all these things are fulfilled, and some people try to assume a generation was 40 years and it'd all be over by 1988. Other people are speculating 70 years. There's a verse in Genesis 15 where God tells Abraham, your descendants will be servants in Egypt for 4 generations, and they were there for 400 years. In that passage, a generation was 100 years. So however we try to slice that, we have to put that in the hands of God and realize He's the one that will determine how much time is necessary to complete the fulfillment of setting the stage, but Israel is definitely back in the land.
You can't put it!
Before men learned how to control fire and put it to work, it was man's greatest enemy. In much the same way, your emotions can be your own greatest enemy. Or under control, your emotions can make you healthier and happier and improve the lives of people around you. I think of fire in connection with emotions because when you become stirred up, when your emotions control your actions, it affects not only yourself, but the people around you. Psychologists find that control of emotions can be gained by understanding the stimulus-response pattern. When you have certain experiences, you respond with various emotions. Stimulus response. Just as this sort of stimulus produces this sort of involuntary muscular response. Well, that's a rather simplified suggestion of a complex mental process, but you get the idea. Cause, effect. Nature endows us at birth with 3 general patterns of emotional response. Rage is the response to the primary stimulus of thwarting, something interfering with our behavior or action. Fear is the response to loud noises or loss of support. And the emotional response to love is usually the result of a show of affection or favors. And these seem to be the emotions with which we start life. Then as we grow up, many everyday things and social situations become associated with these primary stimuli, partly by a process called conditioning. And so many things, people, cause us to respond emotionally. And in general, that's good. For there are many factors involved in a personality. And a balance of emotions is important to a well-rounded personality. But emotions out of control, well, let's take a look at a slice of everyday life to understand how some stimuli can bring about various emotional responses. What might happen to you, or to me, or to Jeffrey Moore? Jeff is an ordinary and healthy and well-balanced young fellow. He usually gets along well with people. And on this particular Friday afternoon, Jeff and his pals are discussing a big triple date tonight.
My dad's gonna let me have that car tonight.
Oh, the car? That's super.
That sounds swell, Jeff, but, well, I don't know if I'll be able to go. I got quite a headache. A headache, huh?
Yeah.
Well, how about letting Jeff, the old soda jerk, fix you up a snappy salsa? Okay. Hey, watch out, you're going some jerk. Yeah. Okay, Bub, I saw the whole Y stunt. Now, just suppose you clean it up. Yes, Mom, I've got it.
What's that? Oh, yes, the ticket he told me about. Well, let's see what he has to say. Here's the latest on my broken ankle. Doc says I'll be all right, only I have to stay off my feet for a week or so. Anyway, here's the ticket for the High Teen Carnival. It's too late to turn it in, so you have yourself a time and tell me all about it. One couple. That means a date. Not like just going around with the crowd. Just me and the girl. Well, that's all right. Only, what girl? Who?
Hey ladies, I'm no weatherman, but you could expect 8 inches tonight.
His looks. Woody thought of Janice and how good-looking she was. He'd really have to rate to date somebody like her. Yes, he'd enjoy that. Except, well, it's too bad Janice always acts so superior and bored. She'd make a fellow feel awkward and inferior. Well, perhaps someone who doesn't feel superior. There's Betty, and yet it just doesn't seem as if she'd be much fun. What about Anne? She knows how to have a good time and how to make the fellow with her relax, have fun too. Yes, that's what a boy likes. He wants to know he's appreciated. Anne would be fun on a date.
Do any of you ladies want to be a single mother?
You can't be tame. You can't stop fighting.
right arm, fire!
But you, Daniel, close up and seal the words of the scroll until the time of the end. Many will go here and there to increase knowledge. Then I, Daniel, looked, and there before me stood two others, one on this bank of the river, and one on the opposite bank. One of them said to the man clothed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, How long will it be before these astonishing things are fulfilled? The man clothed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, lifted his right hand and his left hand toward heaven, and I heard him swear by him who lives forever, saying, It will be for a time, times and a half a time. When the power of the holy people has been finally broken, all these things will be completed. I heard, but I did not understand. So I asked, My Lord, what will the outcome of all this be? He replied, Go your way, Daniel, because the words are closed up and sealed until the time of the end.
That's a lot of people.
Don't worry, they don't bite.
Watch out.
Hey.
Hello.
This is Ian. Ian, this is my crew from the LGBTQIA Center.
Hey.
Hey, Are you gonna introduce yourselves, or do I have to do it for you?
I'm Bethany. I'm a triracial cisgendered girl fag.
Good night, darling. Larry, isn't it exciting about our getting married?
Walking on a pink cloud. So I asked her last night at her graduation prom, and she said yes. We're going to be married in August.
Wow, married?
She's just finishing high school, and you still have 2 years at the university. That's a tough road, Larry. What are you going to use for money?
Well, Sue's folks were going to pay something to put her in junior college here in town for 2 years. So we'll have that. But instead of going to college, she'll get a full-time job in campus town. Say she doesn't care anymore about education. So with that, and my part-time job, we'll get by.
Uh-oh. Here's Sue now. You two probably want to be alone.
Sue, honey.
Oh, Larry.
Well, what's the matter?
It's the folks' sake. We had a terrible scene. I couldn't sleep a wink. They don't approve. They say I'm too young. They want me to finish 2 more years of schooling before I even get engaged. Oh, Larry.
Oh, buck up, sweetheart. They can't stop me. Relax. And act normal till after your graduation next week. Then I can borrow Phil's car. Down to Greenville. There's a justice of the peace down there. We'll elope, honey.
But, Larry, I wanted a church wedding. And all the parties and showers for me, too. And my folks, that would break Mom's heart.
Well, we're the ones that are getting married, not your folks.
I don't know, Larry. I read somewhere that a marriage without parents' approval has 2 strikes on it from the start. But if eloping's the only way...
No, maybe it isn't. Maybe you could convince your folks that you should get married.
But how, Larry? How?
Say, I'll bet we could get some advice from the marriage counselor over at the church. His name is Hall. Phil told me about him. He teaches a course in marriage and family living at the college.
Do you think he could help me with my folks?
Well, it's worth a try, isn't it?
My folks don't understand the way I feel. So that's the story, Mr. Hall. Do you think you can help us get married?
Why, I'm in favor of marriage. In fact, I spend a good deal of my time helping people to get ready for marriage. Now, let's see. You've known each other for...
3 months, 1 week, 2 days, and 17 hours.
And you're 18, Sue? And 19, Larry? Have either of you ever been in love before?
Well, but not like this. This is the real thing.
Yes.
I had a chum in college who had the real thing with 8 successive girls.
Oh.
Oh, it's all right if you have it, fine. It's a very important factor in building a happy marriage. But tell me, how do you know it's real love, the kind you can get married on?
Why, ever since I first met Larry, I haven't wanted to date anyone else. The whole 3 months now. And besides, I haven't even had 1 quarrel with him.
No quarrels? Why not? No differences of opinion? Or no opinions? What do you talk about on your dates?
Oh, movies and popular songs.
Orchestras, dancing.
And...
Larry's chosen profession, engineering?
No, I don't understand any of it. I don't like to hear about it.
Why, Sue, honey, I didn't know you felt that way.
900 times more people are living together before getting married now than there were in the 1960s.
It's the end of family values, Lacey. I'm thinking, oh geez, you know what I'm thinking about. This is very personal. When I make love to him at home, when I start climaxing, I just keep saying over and over again, just as I'm starting to go over the edge, I just tell him, I want your fluids, I want your fluids, I want your fluids.
I now pronounce you married to yourself. Congratulations.
Some of the most famous fashion designers in the U.S. today have been asked to forecast what Eve will look like in AD 2000. One idea is a dress that can be adapted for morning, afternoon, or evening. It's the sleeves what does it. Apparently, in AD 2000, we shall be having a hair-raising time. Yet another designer goes so far as to believe that skirts will disappear entirely. Shoes will have cantilever heels, and an electric belt will adapt the body to climatic changes. The lightly clad woman of tomorrow, ooh, swish, will move in an atmosphere that's scientifically kept at the right temperature.
It's your 21st birthday, dear.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
When a woman reaches the age of 21, something queer happens. She suddenly finds herself no longer interested merely in dollies and pretty frocks. She acquires a keen desire to seek greater knowledge of men. Until today, she's thought of these creatures as affable uncles, stern fathers, and helpful stable lads. Now suddenly she views them with quite different eyes, as dashing pilots and spunky chaps with their hats at jaunty angles. Like all women, she needs a husband to make her complete.
Okay. Hi, Emerson. Gender fluid, hetero-romantic, demisexual mutt, and a redhead. My pronoun is Z.
Hey, I'm Rabbit, genderqueer, tax attorney. I identify as Jennifer Aniston. Just kidding. Be them birth.
DX. Chinese Mexican agender intersex AFAB. My pronoun is they.
Okay. All right, is it okay if I ask a few questions? Better than to assume you know the answers. What is intersex? When a person is born with what is typically perceived as both male and female sex organs. AFAB?
Assigned female at birth. When your parents decide your gender without considering how you may identify in the future.
Okay, and what's the whole pronoun thing? When we talk about DX, we say, ask them if they would like a coffee. But there's only one of him. Her. Them. Fuck, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Men are not always as they seem. He may seem a gay chap, but is he? Perhaps he's a queer sort. But how will I tell? With a little experience, you'll soon get the hang of it. Hello. You're a pretty little thing, aren't you? He seems nice. Yes, but don't get married yet. Prod a little further. I wondered, do you like the music of Mozart? Yes, I do. Would you care to come to the cinema with me on Monday? Gosh, I could make it on Monday. And yet I hear alarm bells ringing in my head. Yes, his appreciation of Mozart was a hideous fib. In his eyes, you're only suitable for a sordid encounter in a dark cinema, where he secretly desires to take diabolical liberties with your knees. I'm afraid I'm busy on Monday. Damn and blast. To hell with you, then. I'm off to knife a pensioner and desecrate a church. See, he wasn't right for you, was he? No. But wait, here comes another.
I find you're uncommon beautiful.
Oh, dear. You know what to do, don't you? Yes. That's right. Strike the toothless foreign type savagely into the dirt.
Oh, I'll never find a husband.
It's all so unfair.
You are a silly thing. Now you're getting hysterical. Here. There. Better?
Yes. Thank you.
Wait a moment. Who's that bookish-looking chap with the kindly face? Go and hover near him. Perhaps you can entrap him with your complexion.
How do you do? My name is Charles.
How do you do? I'm Cicely. Have I disturbed you?
No, it's all right. I was just writing a check for the poor.
That's awfully nice of you.
Oh, I don't know. When you're terribly rich and a keen member of the Church of England, as I am, it's important to show a little modesty and compassion to those less fortunate than oneself.
Oh.
He's laughing his head off. Oh my God. What's wrong with the guy?
Oh. 3. This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. For of this sort are they which creep into houses, and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with divers lusts, ever learning, and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Now as Jannes and Jambres withstood Moses, so do these also resist the truth, men of corrupt minds, reprobate concerning the faith. But they shall proceed no further, for their folly shall be manifest unto all men, as theirs also was. But thou hast fully known my doctrine, manner of life, purpose, faith, long-suffering, charity, patience, persecutions, afflictions which came unto me at Antioch, and Iconium, and Lystra, what persecutions I endured. But out of them all the Lord delivered me. Yea, and all that will live godly in Christ Jesus shall suffer persecution. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. But continue thou in the things which thou hast learned, and hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned them, and that from a child thou hast known the holy Scriptures, which are able to make thee wise unto salvation through faith which is in Christ Jesus. All Scripture is given by inspiration of God, and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works.